Today I'm going to print a housing for the voltage regulator and a cigarette lighter socket. This is a Makita Battery and a shoe that I've purchased that fits on the Makita Battery. The 6 holes in the bottom of it that correspond to my 6 legs. My unit will fit over the top of this, screwed through from the base on those 6 screws. This is my latest design. It's a 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter that fits onto a Makita battery. Now, I've designed that in Fusion 360. A lot of the details on the inside. These legs inside to bolt down to the base. There's going to be a cigarette lighter in one side and a volt amp meter in the other. And an on-off switch in the front. External shape just is there to accommodate those things. There's going to be voltage regulators, circuitry mounted, which I haven't made yet. You can see the notches in these legs here where a circuit board could be slotted in vertically there. I've put notches between these 2 legs as well, but the on-off switch that comes in here will probably foul that. It may be about the right length for the terminals of the on-off switch to solder onto a circuit board that's mounted across there. The cigarette lighter and the voltage and amp meter will be going in one from one side and one from the other. The voltmeter is not very deep, the cigarette lighter is quite deep, and they'll come back to back quite close in the centre there. I've ordered the voltmeter and cigarette lighter socket on eBay along with the on-off switch for this side. I've used the dimensions that I've got off the eBay sites, and hopefully things will fit when they arrive. I'm currently printing this. I've just started printing it. You can see the 6 pillars, bases of the 6 pillars being laid down there, and the rim of the base is now maybe half a dozen layers thick, and the cutouts for the cigarette lighter and the voltmeter are starting to appear in the side, and the on-off switch in the end. I'm expecting this print to take many hours, possibly 5 or 6, or possibly even longer. The estimate on the machine is telling me there could be 11 hours remaining. Somehow I doubt that, but we'll see. It's chipping away. Been going for 37 minutes so far. There is probably what you'd say a fair amount of stringing happening. Well, I'm not too concerned about that because these pillars are around 30 millimetres long. They've only got they're 10 millimetres in diameter, but I've put a chamfer on the bottom of them. As you'll see over here, the chamfers on the bottom actually reduce the surface area of the bottom of those pillars to 9 millimetres in diameter. By the time they're 30 millimetres long and unsupported off the base, maybe those strings will help keep them in place. So so that we just keep printing on top of them and growing them taller. Only the two end ones I think are close enough to get direct support from the edge. Once they get up towards the lid or the top of the model, there's, as you can see, there's fillets around the base of them, so they'll be quite strong once they're bonded to the roof of this model. But yeah, hopefully they get that far during the printing process. You can see these two end ones have got hollowed out because I've made room for the switch to go between them. They've got 2mm M2 threads tapped in the end of each one. I don't know how well an M2 thread will actually print, but I've modelled it inside those pillars. It will be interesting how well it prints and then how well the components fit to it if it does print successfully. This is the other side of that shoe. The contacts to the battery are made by these blades slipping in. The shoe has undercuts here that clip onto the battery and a cutout here where the white switch locks it in. I probably could print that as well, but making that blade terminals for it would require a little bit extra effort. I figured I'd make something that just screwed to this. You can see those 6 holes underneath are countersunk. I'm sure I'll be able to find some M2 screws with countersunk heads that will screw my cap down onto this shoe, and my little humpy cigarette lighter will go in one side, voltmeter will be in the other, and there'll be an on-off switch on this end. This print is taking a long time. There's a lot of strings being strung across all of these gaps, but it's holding those pillars in place. The print time now is over 4 hours, over 6 to go. I'm suspecting it could even be longer than that now, because all it's doing is the boundary of the box. It's got to do a lot of layers to cover in the roof when it gets up a bit higher, so it's interesting how long it takes. Yeah, well, it's finished printing. It took over 11 hours. Looks good from the outside. Got lots of strings on the inside, that's fine. You don't see those. It's pretty happy with that as I first see it. That came off the bed very easily. Inside's full of strings. It takes some time now to go around and slice them out. Yep, all good. That's my print, cleaned out most of its stringiness and screwed down to the shoe base. The on-off switch will be at this end, a voltmeter in one side and a cigarette lighter in the other. Fits on there quite neatly. My guesstimation about the shape of this base was pretty right. There's a little bit of overhang here. If I print another one of these, I can adjust a couple of things. It's all pretty good. That's the 6 screws in the bottom. They lined up good. They were 3mm M3 threads required, not M2. I needed to drill and tap the holes out to M3 to use, well, there were 3mm holes in the green shoe, so it would have been silly trying to find 2mm screws for them. Another thing I'll change on a further print, I didn't have any countersunk M3 screws. I had got some ordinary screws, and I put them in the lathe and machined a taper on the back of them so that they sat flush enough in these holes that needed to be flush here for it to be able to slide over the battery. Now I'm just waiting on components that I've ordered on eBay to come in to see whether they fit. The holes appear fairly round. This one's got a little bit of a dip in the top of it, but I suspect a little bit of shaping will be all that will be required to make things fit in there. So we'll see how we go. Now waiting on the electrical components to finish this off. So stay tuned for part 4 and get out to your shed and have some fun.